Aloha everyone, I'm Cheryl Hamilton and thanks so much for joining me today. Today I have two projects made from that new cork paper that is really neat, and it's paper thin, easy to work with, but it feels like cork. You can feel the texture. And so this is my first one. It's such a pretty card that I made it into an easel card so that you can display it really easily. And then I had a leftover little piece of cork there that I didn't want to throw away, so I made it into a little note card. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make these. To make this card, which isn't actually an easel card, I'm calling it a stand-up card. I'm going to start with a piece of crumb cake that I'm cutting at 4 1/4 by 11. And then I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. I'm going to cut another piece of crumb cake 4 1/4 by 4. So there's 4, I guess it's 4 1/4. And then I'm going to score it. Let me think. This is the 4. I'm going to score it with the 4-inch line here at the top. I'm going to score it at 1/2. And then the middle, which is 2. And then I want 1/2 at the other end too. So I'm going to do it right there. Okay, and this is my piece that's going to be to make the card stand up. Okay, so I'm going to fold it down the middle, which is I'm calling mountain, and then the 2 ends are going to be folded up. So I'm calling this, if you ever hear this, it's valley, mountain, valley. Okay, I'm setting this aside till I'm done with the card. And then the third piece I've cut at, it's crumb cake, I've cut it at 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to emboss this now using Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. It's a new embossing folder in the holiday catalog that looks really neat. I'm still loving my new Big Shot. I shouldn't call it that, I guess. It's a stamp and cut and emboss machine, but I still really love it because I like these simple directions. And you can see on here, the first one is for to make die cuts or to, cut things out. And I just look at 1, 2, 3, 3. The next directions is for embossing folders, the regular kind, but I'm using a 3D one, so I just need 1 and 4. So this is number 1, and so I'm going to put it in with my embossing folder, which seems to be buried. Oh, here it is. Okay, Time Worn Type. One thing about these embossing folders is they have, a lot of them have a little line. That's to help you so that you can position your paper in there perfectly straight, because this has, it's sort of typeset that you can't read very well, but you want it to be on there straight. You don't want it crooked. So that's how I put it in there. I'm going to run the fold in first. That's the best way to take care of your embossing folders. And this is number 4. Sticking that on top and cranking it through. Okay, so this is what it will look like. Second. When it comes out, it's always fun to see it. So there you go. Isn't that neat? This part is where you're going to have to, it's something that I just know when I do this with my customers, they're not going to be happy, but it's going to turn out different every time, and it really looks cool. So try to, hold back your judgment for a second. We're going to use, this is a craft white ink pad. It's kind of a messy ink pad that's You'll see when you get it. But the trick with this is to kind of go lightly and see how I brush, and you can pick up some of the letters just a little bit, but then it does that kind of stuff. So I kind of need to mess around with it. Yeah, but but that's what I've got, and I'm just gonna go with that for everybody and see how it looks when we do the rest. I'm actually just trying to pick up the letters on there, and I'm not sure how I feel about that stuff, but it might be covered up. Here's another one that I started doing, and again, I got some of that on there, but I really like it. I think it's still fine, and I just like the way it's all different, you know, but it does pick up some of the letters. So there you go. I'm putting this craft away. I'm gonna stick this down on my card. That's the first thing I'm doing. Sometimes I lay it upside down and press really hard, because then I don't get the ink on my hands and stuff as much. So that's my card base. Now I'm going to work with this cork a little bit and cut out a frame. I just want to show you this. It's really neat. It's in the new holiday catalog, and it feels like the texture of cork and looks like it, but it's totally paper thin. You know, you can see how thin it is, but it's beautiful. So you guys should get some of this and work with it. So right now I'm going to use my rectangle framelits, and I've used the one, let me see. I'm using the one where the outer edge measures 3.5 by 4 3/4, and the inner one measures 2 1/4 by 3.5, so you can figure out which ones I'm using. And let me cut those out now. Okay, so I cut these out at the same time, just put them both together. I'll pop them out now, and so here's my frame, and this, I have a leftover piece that I am going to use for a little note card I'm going to make, because it's a great piece. I didn't want to throw it away, of course. So here's what I want to put on my card. Here it is, but I wanted to pop it up. So to do that, I'm going to use what are they called, foam adhesive strips to pop it up. And these I use these mostly when I'm doing shaker cards and putting stuff in them, but it's really handy for this. And you could do it, this card, I just put one strip down the middle of all this, but if I want to be more particular, here's another way to do it. So I put this on the outside, and I'm just going to add a couple right here to the inside. You can curve this adhesive strip around, but this is so paper thin, I didn't want it to bunch up at all. So this is what I added, and I felt really satisfied with the results. And everybody's different. Some people might want it all over, or they might be happy with just the one. But peel all these off. Okay, I'm going to try to center it on this thing. I think that's good. Before you push it down, make sure you're happy with it. And that that lays really nicely. My other one, see how this one is? The first one that I did, I still think it's a little bit, it only has one piece all across, and I think it's a little more bumpy looking. But this one's nice and smooth. So I think that was worth it. And okay, now I'm going to do something fun. We get to do the watercoloring, and this will be fun. So let me see. Watercolor paper comes this, I don't know what it is. It's like 6 by, let me see, 6 by 9. And I just, you know, you don't want to waste any. You can always use it, but I'm going to cut it 6 by 6 and just watercolor this piece here. So to do that, I'm going to use a water painter. I'm doing the biggest one. There's 3 sizes. This is a big brush, medium, and there's a little fine tip. So you just put water in here. It looks like I'm out. Okay, I got it filled up again. I'm going to use 3 colors for this: Calypso Coral, Bumblebee, and Soft Succulent, that go really well together. There's tons of different ways to do watercolor, but you could use re-inkers and just put some little drops on a block. But the way I've been doing lately that I like is just to dip a block in here and use that to paint with. So there they are. See, it just picks up a whole bunch of ink, and then it doesn't, you're not mixing anything, which is really important. You don't want to mix your colors together. Okay, so there's my 3 colors. And make sure your brush is, there's a thing on here that says push. I can't see it. Here it is right there. And if you want some water to come down at the end, you push that, water comes down, but you don't want it soaking wet. So you'll play around with it and you'll figure out what you like. I'm going to do 3 panels. See how with my card, one is basically green, the Bumblebee, and then this one. But they did get a little mixed, and I like that too. Okay, let me think. I'm just going to go for it, I guess. Okay, Calypso Coral, here goes. So, see how that looks great so far, and then it's running out of ink and running out of water. So I want to make, that's too much water. Ugh. But you do want to have quite a bit of water in it. I don't know why I swish it like that, but that's, definitely I want some of it to look dark and some light. You don't want it to all look one color. I do like. Okay, so just mess around with it. You'll figure it out. Oh yeah, the other thing that was kind of fun was to get some, we'll see what happens. Now watch, I'm going to try to flick it. And it doesn't do much. Let me get some directly from my stamp pad. Yeah, that's better. You can hardly see it because I kind of did a dark watercolor. I want some flicks. It'll work best with the green, I think. But, okay, so I'm kind of done. I just wipe, when I'm going to another color, it's not going to matter because they're on the blocks, but I just kind of, you clean your brush by just kind of getting water through there and wiping it on your surface. So here's a yellow, which is Bumblebee. See how I do this? That means I don't have enough water. So let me push and get a little bit of water coming down there. There, it's a little better. Let me get more ink. I'm overlapping a little bit too. If you have a couple of white spaces, it doesn't hurt. You mainly just, you know, like there and there, just leave them. It's neat. It looks neat if if it all comes out differently. Okay, ready for the soft succulent. You can see when you have too much water, it's not going to get dark enough. So you can rub it off, or you don't want to keep going over and over watercolors. You want to do it as little as you can and step back and tell yourself that you're really happy with it. Because usually you will be when you're done with the final product. It'll look really neat and you'll be amazed. But okay, let's do some, see if I can do some splattering. It worked out when I did my card. So I'm going to just take it from the ink pad and see if I can get any to splatter on here. Just a little bit. There it goes, really neat on the orange. Okay, one more because I like that. Okay, so right now you might not be that impressed with it, but it's going to look really neat. So I'm going to let it dry for just a little bit because I'm going to run this through the cut and emboss machine. And I've got these three. These are from the Harvest dies that are new in the mini catalog. And so I'm going to kind of line them up. This one I did in green, and this big flower was in Calypso Coral, and then the wheat things were in the Bumblebee. So I'll line them up like that. If you want to, you can move them all at the top or bottom so you have a little strip left here to do something fun with. But and the other thing I want to tell you is when you run it through your machine, I would run it through and then back the other way, because these little stalks are very, very skinny, and you want to make sure you get a really good cut on them to get them out. So I'm back. These two popped out really well, and I really love the way a little bit of Bumblebee got in the soft succulent. This one's trickier, but it looks like it cut out really well. Just want to be careful getting it out of there, because it still feels kind of soft from being wet. There you go. And I don't know if you could do anything with this, but probably, you know, like the edges, or, you know, cut out something from here. But I'm going to put it aside. And okay, found my card. This part it just takes a little time, because you want them to be up off of this middle part. I'll probably do the Bumblebee first, this, and then that one. But obviously we don't have any dimensionals that are small enough for this. So I'll just show you what my plan is, and let me know if you guys have a better idea, because I didn't know. But what I'm gonna do is put this in the middle. This will be glued, and these will have a little drop of glue on them. But I'm on the thicker parts, like right here and there, and probably there, maybe here. I'm going to cut a skinny thing out of my mini dimensionals, like I'm talking really little, like that. And I'm going to use this and stick it on there and hope it doesn't show. And yeah, it'll just take you a little while, but it's such a beautiful card. I think it's worth it. Okay, so that's what you're doing, things like this. And I'll be back when I've got all these popped up. Now for this flower, I've noticed if I put one dimensional there, it still seems a little low. So I'm gonna put 2 dimensionals. using the regular ones here. And the mini ones here. And I just wanted to show you, you can do whatever you want, but and I'll probably stick a little bit of glue on the edges after I'm done, but this is going to make it pop up really nicely. Where do I want it? Probably there. Yeah, it seems like that's as high as the cork is. So I'll add a little glue under here and then the green one. Okay, I'm done with most of the card, and I just wanted to point out I'm not big on gluing everything down because I hate when glue runs out and you can see it and everything's all sticky. I just have a thing about this. So I put too many dimensionals there, and I think I only put a little glue there, and a drop down here. These aren't even glued down. So you can do whatever makes you happy, but I just want to give you that option. Okay, I wanted to put a sentiment from the Nature's Harvest. It's so pretty, a reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others. I'm just stamping this in early espresso on very vanilla, and it stamps really nice. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get that if I embossed it with heat embossed it, so that's why I went with this. I'm going to cut it out with this little die from Tasteful Labels dies. Okay, I'm going to add 2 dimensionals to this side and then just use the green glue to stick this on here. See. I think I should have moved it up a bit. Ugh. There it goes. Oh, that's so pretty. And then I'm gonna just add a couple of embellishments. These are called brushed metallic adhesive back dots, and I really like the colors they come in. Let me do, I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I got a little blotch there, so maybe I'll cover that up. I think that's good. Look at what I did to my sample. It's kind of funny, but I like it a lot. Remember when I was flicking around that green so much? I've got some little speckles of soft succulent all over the sentiment, and it's really pretty. So I'm glad that worked. Okay, last thing I'm going to do, since this, to me, it was so pretty to send it a card, I wanted them to be able to use it and prop it up. So I have that little Valley Mountain Valley piece that I'm just going to add some glue to. And stick it on the front and back inside. So I'll open it up and do this one first. Just get it really straight. There you go. I think that's going to be really good. Could write something on the back, and so that's the way, that's the little stand-up mechanism. So there you go. I love this. And next, I'm going to show you a little idea for what to do for this cork piece I cut out. Now I want to show you how to make a sweet little note card because I wanted to use the leftover cork piece. So you start with very vanilla note cards and envelopes. So grab one of these. You can decorate your envelope later. And just gonna fold it in half. They're already scored and everything for you. You get a pack of 20 of them. So I know they have white ones and very vanilla. So there's my base. I used Nature's, I don't know what it's called. It was a designer series paper from Nature's Harvest. And this one's so pretty. And this side too, but I love this. So I've cut this piece of paper 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. I'm going to glue that on. That's good. Okay, and then cork next. This is the piece. See how it's got the stitching around it? This was the middle of what I cut out, my leftover piece. And it's really as thin as paper. So I think it's thinner than cardstock. So it's really easy to work with. I'm surprised at how much I like it. I thought, oh, I want to get it to see what it's like, you know, to show my customers, but no, I really like it. And then I'm going to cut out an image from, this is one of the papers. Isn't that pretty? From the Nature's Harvest. And what does it say in the back? The flower, the bee, something, something. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out and I'll be right back. So I've got this pretty flower image cut out. And I'm going to just glue it on there. It really didn't need any popping up or I didn't think it needed embellishments, but of course you're free to do that. Okay, I just thought that was so pretty. And so there's my regular card. I'll stamp a little bit on the inside with the Nature's Harvest. Here's that new stamp set. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to do thank you. Just do a thank you card. So I've got this. I'm going to do it in crumb cake. And this is a pretty little image from the same set. And I usually don't stamp on this side, but I don't know why. I should start just doing little images on the inside flap because that's really fun. It's real simple. Isn't that pretty? So that's what I did with my leftovers. I hope you guys really enjoyed this and give it a try. Get some of that cork paper for sure. And this is one of the things that, one of the projects we made, this and the stand-up card at our retreat. So that was a lot of fun. We did a lot of really fun projects. So thanks again. Have a great day, everyone. Aloha.